Brothers and sisters, and friends, this afternoon we want to talk about the ballot or the bullet. The ballot or the bullet explains itself. We have a fight that's common to all of us. We suffer political oppression, economic exploitation, and social degradation. Today it's time to stop singing and start swinging.
Bob and weave.
Man, you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Good morning. First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
My name is Paul B. He's Buddy to God.
Hey.
And it is Monday. What is it? May the 5th, 2025. Right?
Yeah, man.
Cinco de Mayo, okay. Cinco de Mayo. Good morning to you. What's going on? Thanks for joining us very early in this morning. We appreciate you guys coming. You know, today is our special 2-hour show we have every other week because we have the senators on. The Senator Cypher is happening a little later on in the show, so stay tuned for that. Senator Terrell Mckinney, Senator Ashlei Spivey going to come and join us, and we're going to talk about some of these things that we've been discussing here lately with these bills.
Man, yeah, a lot of things are going very active in the legislature.
Very active legislature. How was your weekend, buddy? How you doing?
Man, my weekend was pretty chill. Didn't do too much. Watched some basketball. What else did I do over the weekend? I did go to the park. Took the babies to the park yesterday. It was an all right day. Went out for some pizza. Yeah, just pretty chill weekend. Yeah. Trying to retrace, make sure I don't forget anything. But yeah, just not too much.
All right. Laid low, stayed alive. That's what's up.
Yeah. How about yourself, man?
Yeah, work over the weekend, but yeah, pretty much a chill weekend as well. Still a little bit under the weather with the sinus pressure, headaches, and all that kind of stuff. So I just kind of made sure that I stayed around and just made sure I got enough rest to keep on moving, man. So it's been about 3 weeks now. I've been ailed with something, so I'm trying to keep on eating that chicken soup and drinking that lemon tea and get better. So that's all that's going on with me. I lay low these days. I was just talking to another Generation X old head cat that's like, yeah, I stay in the house, bro.
Man,
where you be at these days?
Bro,
the house.
Mm-hmm.
The house.
You ain't even make it out for tacos?
Did not even make it out for tacos, man. I was thinking about venturing in, but I was like, I get tacos all the time. I didn't even come out on a special taco day and deal with 100,000 people. So it is what it is. But there was a lot going on this weekend, and I actually want to reach out to you, the Chatchimers, the ghost listeners, people that are in town, especially to find out if you did. There was a lot that went down over the weekend, and lots of events, and I just saw people out and about. Before we get to that, though, chat's going off. Pop says good Monday morning and mad love from Las Vegas. Appreciate you, Pops. Kimber Snipes gives us a good morning. She's up early. Like Keisha says, happy marvelous Monday to all. Everybody's up early this morning. That's what's up. Also, RG says muscle cramp Monday. Let's go, y'all.
Okay. Back in the gym.
Up early in the gym sounds like. Black Dynamite gives us a good morning, y'all. Also, excuse me, Marlon Harrison says good morning, First Sky family, and happy motivational Monday.
Okay, yeah, sounds better than muscle cramp Monday. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I heard that. I'm trying to get back to the gym. You saying stuff that's gonna make me stay away. Get unacquainted. Call him James again.
Man.
Michelle Moreno gives us a good morning. Good morning to you. Heather Williams says good morning, everyone. Appreciate you. And yeah, man, appreciate everybody that's jumping up this morning. Tell us how your morning is. You having a good Monday morning? Is everything cool with you? Also, stuff that went on over the weekend. Before we get to the weekend stuff, just want to give a shout out to Mark Manor. He's an avid Chatchimer supporter of First Guy Omaha. Birthday today. He's the cat that does Omaha Buzz, so you can see what's going on within the music scene all over Omaha. I highly suggest you get down with Omaha Buzz. But shout out to Mark Manor for always supporting and being down what we got going on. As a matter of fact, I put that link on Omaha Buzz in the chat for you so you can check it out.
Man.
And, yeah, see what's happening, man. He's kind of comprehensive list of things, of music things going on in Omaha with Omaha Buzz. Definitely check it out. Man. And also, I got another friend, Shelby Audis. It's her day today too. So
okay,
she's probably not listening, but shout out to Shelbs. And yeah, good friends, good people, man, good people. So that's what it's all about.
BFF fam.
Yeah, celebrating each other, giving each other flowers while we can smell them.
There you go.
Say. Did you go to For the Love of Barbecue over the weekend? They went down. Also, the Spring Business Expo went down. The Big Elk Indian Taco. I saw Brother Lavelle Wells. He posted something about a First Sky member that came through.
Yeah.
Got some tacos. Skate Fest apparently happened over the weekend as well. Also, we forgot to mention last week, Tiny House. Remember, if we did a Chatchimers kickback at Tiny House before.
Mhm.
I think it was one of our first ones, as a matter of fact. She did a D2 candidate forum over there. So the District 2 candidates were over there. Ben Gray
Hmm.
and Lavanya Goodwin. They did a candidate forum last Monday. Did you happen to see that? Love to see how that went. And then, of course, there was a bunch of early Cinco de Mayo stuff going on. Mula had that big Cinco de Mayo party over the weekend as well. Shout out to DJ Kethro out there
Hey.
putting it down again for multiple years. I think third or fourth year you've been out there. That's one of the good parties, one of the good parties of the year, man. Is that Cinco de Mayo and Bacamula party. So shout out to all the DJs that went through there. I think DJ Skyscraper was out there too. So shout out to him. So yeah, man, the weather got nice and people got outside this
Man.
weekend. Let us know. Let us know. Black Dynamite said no because I forgot it was yesterday, but I did go to the Rib Shack on Saturday. That's what's up.
Okay. The Rib Shack.
Shout out to the Rib Shack, man. That's what's happening. Good morning to you, Sean McCarthy. Appreciate you coming on through. Says I hope everyone had a decent weekend. I do too. Let us know. Let us know if you did. As far as upcoming things are concerned, we can jump into a few community updates and some haps as well. Some stuff to look out for coming up. Let me see if I pull it up. Of course, this happened as well today, and actually, it's a 2-day event. So it started yesterday. The Fish Fry fundraiser for the families that help support the Jones family, the little sis that passed away in the river. Who they were looking for all that time. This happened at the Intrigue event venue. So over there with the Moss Lady and our man
Myron.
Myron Pierce. Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Still early.
Yeah.
Their spot over there, 2123 Pierce Street. I finally this is also where Brother Kasim did his proposal as well. So I finally got to go over there and check that event space out. It's pretty nice, pretty nice. It used to be an Italian restaurant I used to duck off in sometimes with a friend, and
Okay.
so I was surprised that it was that building. I was like, "What happened to the Italian restaurant?" But they're making it do what it does. And this time around, they're gonna be doing catfish fillet dinners for $20, trying to raise some funds for the Jones family. Of course, the sister that was on just breaking everybody's heart, just expressing herself about not being able to find her daughter, and
Man.
it's just heartbreaking, bro. So shout out to everybody in the community that came by her side, and they're still trying to help with her. All the bodies of the young ladies have been recovered now, and yeah, unfortunately they passed away, and so now we're going to continue to support the Jones family, not just with a fundraiser and just with funds, but just rally around the sis. I can't imagine losing your daughter that way. So so this happened yesterday, and it's also happening today, May 5th, from noon to 6. You can still go and get your fish fry, get your catfish fillet with 2 sides, dessert, and a drink, and it'll be a $20 support. They'll pay for some of the food, and then of course a fundraiser for the Jones family. So that's happening today. One of the most important things going on, as a matter of fact, right now. And so yeah, so get ready for that. If you can make it, cool. We'll get you some information. If you can't make it and you still want to donate, we'll get the information on where you can do that at some point, and put it on Friends of First Sky Omaha. Also, this is coming up as well. The More Group Advocacy and Challenges in the Community. This is happening Wednesday, May 7th, featuring our man Sherman Wells, community advocate. Yeah, man, it's gonna be via Zoom and Facebook Live, so you can check that out. You can sign up for free at www.moreomaha.org. Should dig into More Omaha a little bit and see what they got going on, because they always have some good events, and it seems like they're talking to some folks. So I love to see what kind of mark they're making here in the city with the work that they do. So definitely check it out. If Sherman Wells is down with it, then we're down with it in the first place. So that's what's up. Appreciate that. Check that out on Wednesday. Also coming up Friday, May 16th. This is something you can put on your calendar. I know this is a little while, a couple weeks away, but definitely put this together because this is going to be huge. Rebuild and Transform event, the 18th annual Rebuild the Village Conference and Revive Black Business Expo is going on. Shout out to Empowerment Network for putting this on. They have a lot of different speakers coming. But yeah, get ready for this. This is going to happen Friday, May 16th at the CHI Health Center. I think we went to one of these before. This is the one that we went to,
Mhm.
wasn't it? Yeah,
Mhm.
a few years back. So we got to see so many people come out for this. So many businesses pop up. The network is real. This is the event that we went and saw about 600 kids in the Step Up program that were
Yeah.
there to hear some things and get some jobs. So they got down, man.
Yeah.
They got national partners coming. Definitely register at RTVO Omaha, rtvomaha.com. You can register there. Here's some of the speakers that are going to be at this event as well. So they're starting to feature a lot of the speakers now and kind of giving you a little backstory on who they are and all that. But this will lay out for you exactly what it is that you will want to take away from this conference. And hopefully we'll have Willie Barney on to come tell us a little bit more about this conference coming up, or one of the representatives over at the Empowerment Network. So shout out to them for this. We'll post this in Friends of First Sky Omaha. If you got in our newsletter, if you got in our out or our weekly wrap newsletter, then you see that we've been posting this for a little while now because it's a pretty big event, and you
Mhm.
kind of want to get your tickets early for that and be a part of that whole movement and see what's going on. Kind of changed my world when I went,
Oh yeah.
as far as my attitude about what Empowerment Network does, and seeing things firsthand and hearing from the speakers. And of course, it didn't hurt that ET was the speaker that day. That
Man. Was
so
definitely gonna mention that. Definitely gonna mention that. Can't forget that one. So definitely looking forward to the level of speakers that they have coming out for this one. But yeah, if anybody is skeptical about the Empowerment Network, I urge you to go check that out for yourself, man. Just it was kind of jarring to see that huge ballroom full of people and everyone involved in the network in some way, shape, or form. To actually see it firsthand for yourself is quite interesting. So yeah, big shout out to everybody involved with that and the work that's being done.
yeah,
Check it
man,
out. Check it out.
check it out. We're gonna try to make it. I'm trying to make it myself on this one. So also let's move on here. We got a little bit to talk about today too, but we got a few more things to talk about as far as HAPS is concerned. This one is popped up here. The Pop Up Voter Expo is going down. Shout out to Culture House is putting this on. Culture
Man,
House at 3014 North 24th Street. The Culture House Pop Up Voter Expo. Pop up, meet candidates, have conversations. This is a community meet and greet. There's going to be music, food, and of course community feedback, which is what this is all about.
yeah,
This is
man.
happening on the 7th as well, from 5:30 to 7:30 this coming Wednesday. So yeah, come on through, learn about community partners, and of course they're encouraging you to vote on May 13th, which is the time frame for Omaha. There's an article in the paper today talking about they're trying to something that's passed in the legislature to where they're making the same date to vote for Lincoln and Omaha. Right
Yeah,
now, yeah, that's coming up. Right now, it's two different dates. Two different dates. Lincoln is May 6th, so there's this coming up tomorrow. The time to date, and then of course May 13th is for us, which is coming up, pretty soon as well, very shortly. Shout out to Precious McKesson, who is passing these messages along with us. Of course, the big race is happening with the mayor, John Ewing, and Mayor Stothard are going head to head. And it feels to me like Brother Ewing is gaining some speed all the way around. At least in my world, he's getting a lot of support. So we'll see how that goes. And of course, the big race for District 2 between Lavanya Goodwin and Ben Gray. That's the kind of the one that a lot of people are talking about.
mhm.
We'll be talking about the groups that got a lot to say about this race later on in the show. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, this is what the Omaha Democratic candidates look like. Shout out to Precious McKesson for giving us that information.
Hey,
Yeah, that's what's going on, man. It's going down. One more thing, Tennis United has a legal defense fundraiser. Saw a
man,
post from our man Dave Pontos, who is a lawyer that is giving his time to Omaha Tennis United. He's been in the fight for tennis rights for a minute. So there's an actual lawyer there that is helping this situation out. But recently, they've been accused of practicing without a law license. They're getting sued by a group, and so they're raising some funds here for the legal defense fundraiser. With this legal defense fundraiser here, so I would definitely drop this link in the chat if you want to help that out to help them get some loot to keep on fighting that good fight. It's a shame when you can be a group that is just trying to help people learn what their rights are, and you get sued by
man,
some landowners,
get attacked.
get attacked and sued by landowners saying you doing something illegal. Crazy. It's crazy how much they try to shield information from people.
Man,
You see that firsthand.
yeah. Would
Yeah,
love to love to actually have Dave, brother Pontos on to talk to him about this homeowners association or property owners association. That was it, MOPOA or something like that. That was an organization that's filing this lawsuit against Tenants United. Again, as you mentioned, brother Pontos has been doing some pro bono work, so he's been going head to head with some of these property owners. I would definitely love to hear his take on that situation. Seems like a very powerful organization flexing some muscle on the little guy a little bit.
Yeah, man. I think for us that we know the origins of Tennis United and like who's behind it. Yeah, this is just grassroots people, man. They ain't a whole bunch of rich folks trying to put this together. They're just trying to make sure that people know their rights and give them some help. So yeah, it's kind of crazy that's going down. But yeah, I ran into Brother Pontos at Elevator Spaces recently, and we talked about him coming on the show. So we'll definitely do that.
Yeah.
A couple more things. Just want to run through a few more real quick. I'm not going to discuss them too much, but of course, Berkshire Hathaway, the Berkshire Hathaway event happened over the weekend. I don't know if you guys got caught up with that. Big news there. Warren Buffett decides that he's stepping down. He's retiring. Kind of shocked everybody at the conference, is what I'm hearing, and there's a lot of stuff in the news about people's reaction to that. So that's happening. It's going to be a huge thing. He's going to finally step down after saying that he had no plans to retire. Yeah, a year later, he's doing that. So it's about time. Also, everybody's talking about this fight coming up. Canelo and Crawford is going to be a huge one. This is everybody's already gearing up for this fight. So let us know your opinions on this, and if you're going to go check the fight out and see what's happening there. But man, if the champ beats Canelo, it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. It's next level.
Another parade in Omaha.
Big. It would be worthy of that. That to me is like parade time. If he wins that fight,
man,
I'm actually a little slightly worried. I'm slightly worried. It's a real fight. It's a real fight. Bud got him though. But I'm just saying. I'm just saying. It's gonna be one of them good ones.
Yeah.
Also, our partners over that at House of Afro Capes and Curls got the Black Fade Day coming up here pretty soon as well. This is coming up Saturday. On the 10th, at Miller Park. So definitely check this out. You can go to the House of Afro Capes and Curls to find out what's going on there with this one. And if you know, this is one that's been an annual one as well. So she got a lot of stuff going on too that that she is not doing a whole lot of promotion for anymore, because there's just a lot of people that know and have been part of this already and coming back. I'd like to see this stuff get out more though, but definitely go check this out. We'll put some information in Friends of First Guy Omaha on the House of Afro Capes and Curls and all the stuff they got coming up, including AfroCon as well this year. That's happening. Also put on your calendar, Joy Fest is going down. Joy Fest is coming back, and I love the fact that they have collaborated with the Union for Contemporary Art. So this time, Joy Fest is going to be over on that property. And as you can see, there's a lot of people that are already signed up to play, and a lot of DJ sets happening as well. Youth performers and poetry and all kinds of stuff going on for Joy Fest. So shout out to the fan that puts this on, and put that on your calendars as well. It's definitely coming up. Also, May 10th, this is Saturday as well. Mocha Mornings is happening at Cups Cafe at 9 a.m. Special guest Terrell Mckinney. Senator Mckinney is going to be there this time around as a special guest. So come on through. This is something that's been going on. I think it's bi-weekly or weekly, these Mocha Mornings. Not quite sure, but it's hosted by the homie Shamari Huggins. So definitely go check this out at Cups, 8501 North 30th Street at 9 a.m. I think that's the one over there at No More Empty Pots, right? Cups Cafe.
I believe so.
New little cafe over there. So yeah, we'll definitely get some more information on that. And that'll do it right now for the community updates and haps. I appreciate you guys sitting through that. We ran a little overtime on that, but there was a few things I definitely wanted to make sure that we got out. But before we go to a break, let's talk a little bit about what today's thread is going to be. Some of the things that we're going to discuss today, thanks to you putting stuff in Friends of First Sky Omaha, and also searching through the news. Buddy, what's going to be on the agenda for today?
Yeah, man, kind of a heavy news day, man. We spent a lot of last week talking about centers, and definitely check out our Friday episode. Shout out to my cuz K2 for that conversation. Dope conversation. But in the midst of that, there are a few things happening that we definitely have to address. Of course, as mentioned earlier, today is our Senator Cypher. So an extended version of the episode today. We will be getting into conversation with Senators Ashlei Spivey and brother Senator Terrell Mckinney. We have to talk about what's going on with this attempt to, again, detain 11-year-olds. There's actually been some posts going around trying to criminalize the kids, but they're still kids, man, still babies. So again, we'll be talking about that in the second hour. Also, a few other things happening in the legislature. As you mentioned, Paul, there's some attempt to change some of the voting dates and things like that. So again, getting a pulse on what's going on in the state legislature a little later on in the show. But before that, I do want to get into some of this list that's going out. You say people are complaining, Paul. I would definitely love to have the conversation. The election is less than 2 weeks away, quickly approaching. And we've been asking the question, what do the people want? What is the agenda? There's actually a list going around social media. A shout out to the likes of Joaquin B. Sangin and Brother Sherman Wells and several other advocates from the community calling themselves the Black Advocates Group. They've again released a list of metrics, of goals that they want to see from the candidates, which is what we've been asking for. So I definitely want to go through that list with all of you, hear what you have to say. If you've seen the list or if you caught the sermon with Sherman over the weekend, definitely, again, chime in. There were a few Chatchimers in there. So yeah, let your mind be free. Let your voice be heard. We'd love to talk about some of those things. And also a few stories connected to those, again, economic development. One of those items on the list, there's some resources coming out in the news, KMTV3 sharing, and a few other things, of course, looking at also speaking of economic development and in light of Cinco de Mayo today, some of the things going on at Plaza de la Raza, they're moving forward with that project and development. So again, a lot to talk about. We're here for the next 2 hours. Also some things happening with Trump. Want to at least inform you. That's what we're here to do, man. So again, let your mind be free, let your voice be heard. If you have some information that you feel like the people can use and improve their situation, feel free to drop that into the chat. In the meantime, between time, let's get into a little break, come back, jump into some conversation, get this thing rolling. Again, here for the next 2 hours. RG, Black Dynamite, it's for you. Strap in.
There you go, man. Before we get to that, I just want to say good morning to everybody that came in. Wanda Lewis gives us a good morning. Appreciate you. Vicky Young also says good morning. Thank you. Kimber says, let's not forget when Magic came then a lack of men from Omaha raised double digits thousands in the matter of a few minutes at the Empowerment Network event. Okay. I didn't realize that they raised that kind of money when Magic came to town. I'm so mad. I miss Magic Johnson. That's one of my favorites. But yeah, those are the meetings that happen. So shout out to Empowerment Network for that. She says, "Don't tell me black people in Omaha don't have money." I heard that.
That part.
RG says, "I have my doubts about streetcar Sally sliding over to the Culture House." Okay, we'll see. We'll see if it goes down. Also, Black Dynamite says John Ewing is throwing a parade for the champ. Okay, there you go. That's what's up.
Yeah, hopefully I can make this one.
Yeah, hopefully. Mama God says, good morning, fam. Appreciate you very much. Also, Kimber says, is the list for North Omaha or Black Omaha? That's a good question.
That is a good question.
That is a very good question. Also, Black Dynamite says, man, appreciate it. Definitely be here. All right. Appreciate you, Black Dynamite. Yes. Special 2-hour show today. Senator Cypher definitely coming up. And we'll have a good time speaking to the senators as we often do. Appreciate everybody that came through. And stay tuned with us. We're going to take a quick break and we'll come right back and jump into the conversation. First Guy Omaha in the morning.
My
name is Paul B. He's Buddy the God. Hold tight. Hold tight. Hold tight.
Lead poisoning in children under 7 is scary, but it's also 100% preventable. Not only can lead be found in paint and soil, it can be found in many common spices, certain baby foods, and brought home from job sites. Children with lead poisoning might not show any symptoms until their levels are dangerously high. So ask your healthcare provider for a lead test for your child. You can help prevent lead poisoning in children. Brought to you.
Welcome back. Shout out to Douglas County Health Department for that message. We definitely are going to continue the fight on trying to find lead and get rid of that stuff. Definitely ever since we've been talking with these people, I've been looking at all these ways that lead affects you. And it's crazy, man. It could really have a lot to do with the ADHD stuff that's going on with kids.
Man.
And of course we're always living in the areas that is going to be affecting us the most. So definitely something to look out for, keep in mind. And there's some information there. You can always go to Friends of First Sky Omaha and check that information out. Or if you have our newsletter, we have the information there with some links for you to go to their site and look and see how you can first of all detect it, and then what you can do about it. It's in everywhere. It's in our food and all kinds of stuff. I actually saw a video of some guy with this lead counter walking around a store and tapping on stuff and being like, "Yep, there's lead in this, lead in that." Yeah, lead in food and all kinds of stuff going on, man. Something to look out for.
Big time.
Yep. Yeah. With that said, it is 7:26 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, we appreciate everybody who's joined us this morning and is part of this conversation. Do us a favor, share the show on your page as well. If you're on Facebook and if you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe over there so we can make sure that we get a good audience there. We got much more material that is going to be coming out on YouTube exclusively. So I highly suggest you go over there and follow us there. And there's going to be more things we can do with the chat on YouTube as well if we move everybody over from Facebook. A lot of people have already moved from Facebook because they're not down with Meta anymore and what they're doing. So shout out to the people on YouTube now that used to be on Facebook. Highly suggest we move over. We got to stay fluid with these social media pieces because they're owned by the oligarchs, and who knows what from day to day on any of this stuff. So we were really heavy on Twitter back in the day, not anymore. And so things change, things move, but you can always go to firstskyOmaha.com and get the latest from us. And you can always go to you can always hit us up or sign up to the newsletter as well, which is a lot of the information that is coming from there, and we can go back and forth and talk as well. This week is going to be a time to go back to the YouTube channel over here. Is on top of that, because of the get to know the candidates that are coming. We got some new candidates that we have scheduled this week to do interviews with. That race is coming up again for us on the 13th. And if you're like me, I kind of am doing research right up until the day of, because there's it's always good to take in as much information as you can on these candidates. And even though sometimes I have a general idea what decision I'm going to make, I really do look right up until the day to make it sometimes. So definitely check that out on YouTube. Check out the candidates, see what they have to say, see if anything that they're saying is swaying you or making you feel like it's something that's going to be good for Omaha. Meantime, we're going to go ahead and jump into the first foray of conversations with the subjects that are on top of mind. What you got for us, buddy?
Yeah, let's kind of listen to the conversation, seeing where it's going. Definitely a few things I want to dive into. Yeah, I was going to go one direction. You just took me another direction, what you just said. But yeah. I'll take it to the chat. Do we want to talk about? Actually, I'll do this, and we'll just kind of get it out the way. As far as as far as today's Cinco de Mayo. And I'm thinking of what Sister Wanda Lewis is saying. As far as South Omaha merchants has it going on collectively. Of course, we have the parade that's actually coming up this weekend. But want to talk about the development, and this is going into actually the list that I mentioned. So keep in mind your question, Sister Kimmer, because I'm gonna answer that. It's a very great question, and it really deals with South Omaha, North Omaha, and how we view each community. And how the people from the community view the community more so. But again, Sister Wanda Lewis says South Omaha merchants has it going on collectively. And if you don't know exactly what she's referring to, it might have something to do with this multi-million-dollar plaza that is moving forward. This coming out of Nebraska Examiner. Construction is expected to begin this fall, actually, on the La Plaza de la Raza, which is a pocket mini called the heartbeat of South Omaha's historic commercial district. Of course, right there on we talk about the Deuce a lot, and of course, when we say the Deuce, we're thinking about North Omaha, but hey, South Omaha Deuce gets down as well. Again, the first portion of this leaders of the Adelante 2 initiative gathered Friday at 24th and N Streets, which is the plaza which in offered progress on the report. according to Itzel Lopez, who's the CEO of the Latino Economic Development Council, says together we're bringing the heart of our community forward. Adelante. Currently a paved parking lot that ships Fiesta grounds on certain occasions. Of course, this weekend will be one of those. But this $25 million project will transform this area. Key features will include an amphitheater, stage, playground areas, open lawn. All of these things are coming, and again, very, very interesting how all of this kind of came to be. Paul, I know you talk about a lot about how you saw how the community kind of rallied together, how this project was planned, shaped. There was a kind of collective idea with this. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know the details on it, but I do know that they really got together. To me, from the outside, it seemed to me that they met and they got together. I know that I talked to a few people that said there were some people that were against some of the things that were happening, but somehow they still got, they decided it was going to go forward. And even the people that were against it kind of said, okay, well, I lost the vote, so I'll go ahead and just rally behind what's going to happen. There just seemed to be some more unity there about and some clarity about what it is they wanted and going forward, and then going for it. And that seems to be what's kind of moving the needle over there, is a matter of fact. So shout out to my mentor, Jonathan Benjamin Alvarado. He gave me some names of some people to talk to about this, that's heading up a lot of these programs. We'll have them on the show and talk a little bit more about that. But yeah, that's kind of like what I'm seeing is that I'm always taking this example. This is something that where we work for here to try to rally around areas that we live in and try to get with some folks and get on the same page with what it is that we want, and getting behind each other to go get it, and really make an impact and a big difference there. So this is not just politicians that are behind this, but some of the citizenry and a lot of people that are doing things with the community out there, and even when they are disagreeing, they still get together, rally around, and get something done. So that's what's standing out to me about it.
Yep. A lot of people were a part of this and spoke at the event on just about every level. County board chair Roger Garcia was at this event on Friday. Also, Omaha Mayor Gene Stothard was there. Also, several individuals from the business community. OPPD CEO Javier Fernandez, South Omaha Business Improvement District President Ross Pesic was there. So, to your point, again, the unity is very interesting, and how the community sees itself. And I'm getting to a point that we've been talking about here on the show really throughout this episode or this season, as far as North Omaha and how North Omaha is viewed, and the identity of North Omaha. And again, going back to Kimura's question, when we talk about District 2 and we talk about getting things done in the community, are we talking about racial, cultural? Are we talking about geographic? Again, Kimura's question is it North Omaha or Black Omaha? This comment from Canopy South CEO Cesar Garcia is interesting. And Kimura, I know you have some feelings about this, but this is the conversation we're having. He says the Latino community is at the heart of South Omaha's story, and today we celebrate that legacy. This is about investing in places that create the future we want for generations to come. And again, Kimura, I know you've mentioned, and my father is a graduate of South Omaha High School. So again, it is a very interesting conversation when we talk about areas of Omaha and racial and groups and who dominates these areas. And now we're talking about North Omaha not really being Black Omaha. And although we have thought about it and looked at it for this long, for really years and years and generations, is that still the case? And again, I just want to juxtapose that with what we're seeing out of North Omaha. Again, there's organizations, groups, individuals on North Omaha rallying to organize, rallying. I mean, we share the graphic all the time. We're not outnumbered, we're out organized. But again, how do we organize? Do we organize around geographic areas, culture, identity? What does that look like? Again, this is something that came out over the weekend, came to our attention, I guess you could say, was sent to us through this Black Advocates group, which are individuals that we're familiar with. Again, Brother Joaquin Fox, Brother Sherman Wells, Sister Cheryl Weston, to name a few. And they laid out a pretty interesting list of matrix that pretty much spanned a pretty wide array of issues: health and wellness, housing, economics, criminal justice reform, community investment, community safety. And before we get into the goals, I do want to address the mentality. Again, when we talk about North Omaha, who are we talking about? What are we talking about? And I think there is a split in the two. There's a divide. Again, this list is directed towards specifically D2. It says, breaking news, Black Advocates Group just posted this statement on the city council D2 race. So again, this is a geographical thing. D2, a certain district. But all of these things are geared towards Black people. Again, currently Omaha's Black people's life expectancy is 10 years. It's also talking about the median household income of District 2. Also talking about incarceration rate of Black people, which is, according to this letter, 9.5 times higher than their white counterparts. Currently in Omaha, Black people make up about $12 of the 12% of the population, but account for 22% of fatal crashes while walking, biking, or driving. So they're saying community safety is another one of these metrics. But before we get into the metrics, the goals, any of that, when we're talking about, again, going back to Sister Kimber's question, this letter is kind of talking about both. And is that really the approach?
Kimber's got making a point too in the chat. Again, she says it's unfair to compare North Omaha to the Hispanic community in South Omaha, though they had a language barrier that forced them to unite when it comes to business. And this is reminding me that this is kind of a question that is not just about North and South Omaha, but the Black folks in the whole country. This is a very universal question when we're talking about the Black community. Are we talking geographic? Are we, are we talking about the diaspora? Like what is it that we're actually talking about, and how do we define that? Other groups have always had language as a unifying factor in their culture. And Black folks are the only what considered minority group from the master race, majority race, whatever they want to call themselves. They want to act like we're one of these groups, and we're the only group that can't unify because of our history, because of how we got here, why we're here, and the fact that we got our language and our life and everything taken away from us. So it's always been a question. I remember growing up in California with that same question. Like me and my cousins used to try to invent our own language until we got older, and then we decided we were going to try to learn Swahili, and we went through all these different phases because we were right next to the Hispanic community that we saw they were unified because they had their own language, and it was just one of the things that unifies them. You unified because you have your own language. You unified because you're in an area, in a geographic area. You unified because your culture, because you're holding on to your culture. Parts of your culture are enabled in this country as well. We can't take out white supremacy from this whole equation. Some cultures are allowed to live more of their culture because white supremacy allows that piece. Black folks get their culture shut down from the jump, but other cultures can have, we can have St. Patty's Day. What I'm saying. We can do. Other cultures have their ability to keep their culture intact in a lot of ways. So there's a lot of factors involved with this, and it all comes down to who are we actually talking about, and how do we unify? And I personally try to go back to like who's actually suffering, which does kind of lead me a little bit more to geographic areas, because in our capitalist society, there's going to be geographic areas where a lot of folks are going to be in those areas suffering. But also, my whole purpose with even doing what we're doing is to uplift the Black community, because that's the community that I'm trying to uplift. But what is the Black community? Who are the Black? Who is that? Where is that? Big questions. Uh, I think that Marlon Harrison in the chat, let me go through the chat real quick. He says, interesting fact, the Hispanic and Latino has been the majority in South Omaha since the 90s. The South Omaha used to be where all the Black folks were in the beginning. The Great Migration, they all came over there and was working in the slaughterhouses and stuff of South Omaha. And because of redlining and everything else, wound up in North Omaha. and trying to make business thrive over in North Omaha. And now, because of things that's happened in the 80s and 90s, with a lot of different reasons, just moving folks out west and busing in schools and all kinds of things. They just kind of and not just because of what was thrust on black folks, but black folks too, like wanting to get out of the hood and wanting to move somewhere else, wanting to, feeling like they got to go somewhere else, not having that solidarity of the area. I mean, there's a lot of factors involved with this that is way too many factors to come to some conclusion about like who it is that we need to be serving or who it is that we need to be working for and doing things for. I think we can say the black community, but who is that? Where is that? And how do we? And are they going to be singled out? With other groups, we started off talking about from the north side perspective. Then we started talking about from the east side perspective. We realized that whenever I'm talking to anybody about who it is we actually serving, the black community, the Hispanic community, the indigenous community, the immigrant population, disenfranchised people, whoever they are. I see this with Sherman Wells. I see this with Kasim, brother, with the BAA. They've gotten down with the Sudanese population. They've gotten down with the people that are coming in from Africa and bonding with them. What's the reason? Is it just because they're black? Absolutely not. I think it's because they're they're brought here and put in the same situation under white supremacy that we are, and we can bond on that. So who's suffering is my question.
That's it's an interesting question, and I mean, to an extent, we're all suffering. To your point, we're all dealing with white supremacy in our own ways, to a certain extent. And yeah, I think this larger question of who we're talking about, identity, politics and the United States is something that we're not necessarily going to hammer down in this episode. But it is something worth addressing when talking about solving things in the community, especially in the black community. Because to that point, when it is us trying to just focus on ourselves, then it is looked at as radical and as Kasim with the Black Agenda Alliance, how that is viewed. But to my point, and I do want to at least eventually dive into the actual goals of this, because I do appreciate their approach. There has been some people, disagreeing with the Black Advocates group and having some pushback. But the idea of coming up with an agenda, the idea kind of, I think Brother Tony Johnson had mentioned that earlier. He says, but we already know this. Empowerment Network talks about this at every meeting. Where are the action points and next steps? This is where we get out organized, that we have no action agenda. And again, my point for asking this question is, before you even get to an action agenda, like, who are we talking about? Like, who's involved in this action before you even know what the action is? And, to share my 2 cents before moving on, I do think that it starts with race. It starts with culture. It starts with black folk, regardless of where we are. And then, okay, now we're thinking about black folk. Where are we? Then it goes to geography. I think that conversation becomes easier when we start to think like, yeah, we should start moving closer to each other. Like, we benefit from living around each other. I definitely think that segregation kind of helped us out. You know what I mean? Like, when we were forced to be by ourselves, when we were forced to do our own thing, then we kind of thrived. It was when integration became a thing, when we started to lose our communities and our things, and that we had to give up in order to we had to get along to go along, or go along to get along.
I mean, many people thought that was a strategy back in the day to do that, integrate. Talking about the black population, was caught up with that. So yeah.
Well, here we are.
I see what you're saying though. Most deaf. In the chat, Anthony Rogers Wright says the head of the Obama Chamber of Commerce is Hispanic. That's a factor too. Interesting. Kimmer says, I had coffee with a Latino leader, quote unquote, on Friday morning. He actually lives in North Omaha. It was a great discussion. She says, well, I will tell you straight up, when we hear these different agendas on the South Side, we do not feel like we are included in or involved. Talking about black folks.
Yeah.
And again, this is kind of what we were talking about with that. everybody in Omaha considers the South Side is where the Latino community is mostly, and the Latino community over there are banding together to do what they need to do for their areas as well. And you always got to go back to, language is a piece of that whole situation too, because there's some ways that they are getting together that's a little different, that they can do stuff like leave folks out. To me, that's the equivalent of what the Black Agenda Alliance is doing too. They're like, it's black only over here. We only worry about black folks wherever they're at, and that's kind of the same situation. So why? So my question to you, Kimmer, is like, where is like you live? If black people are living on the South Side, should they expect the Latino community to involve them in what it is that they're doing? If this is what Buddy is saying is it starts with race, it starts with culture. If that's the case, why wouldn't they decide to band together? Aren't we looking at doing the same thing over here? Isn't that our agenda? When we get together, isn't that our alliance agenda to get together and take care of black folks as well? I mean, I know that us on this show are more about collaboration and getting together with all oppressed people. But for the most part, we do have to acknowledge that we also are trying to uplift and upbuild the black community wherever they are. So it's kind of a question. Kimmer is in the chat saying the VP of Highland South Indian Hill Neighborhood Association is a black woman in South Omaha. We have these discussions a lot. Very interested in that. I'm glad that you're here because you're a very integral part of this particular conversation here when we're talking about the South Side and the things that are happening in the Latino community that are progress, and whether or not that benefits the black community at all. And do we look at it that way? Do we have to look at it that way? Where is the black agenda? Where's the agenda and alliance of black folks in South Omaha? If you feel like you're being left out of what the Latino community is doing there, where's the black agenda in South Omaha? Because if we got to switch our thinking to black folks everywhere, wherever they are, we have to get together. How do we do that? How do we do that for neighborhood associations? How do we do that? I can only see, we call this show a digital neighborhood association. And I do that because of that part, because like black folks are everywhere in the city. So how do we unite them? We can't necessarily unite them geographically. We talk a lot about the Deuce lately, and then we talk about 24th and Lake Street area. And I think of that as like our heritage and the area where we have heritage and history, and we should be having commerce, and it should be looked at as the black side of town. But that doesn't necessarily mean that all the black folks are all living and populated there. Where are they, and what can we do with people if they're moved out of the area? Awana Lewis in the chat says, look at how others adopt black culture and will excel with it when it comes to clothing, beauty, and hair products, poetry, dance, and much more. Definitely people that are borrowing from the African diaspora in a big way. Kimmer says the VP. Oh, we already said that. RG says moving out west and moving out of town altogether. Out migration has been has been real since in Black Omaha since the 90s. Yeah. I mean, we got to come to this conclusion. It's if we're talking about the black community is all over Omaha. Is there a bigger concentration in North Omaha than anywhere else? Maybe. But we also hear statistics about how black North Omaha is more white than black right now.
Right. So again, I bring all this up because this is something we do have to at least acknowledge before we even talk about the goals, because it's going to be hard to get these goals done if we're dispersed, and we can just say, hey, we're the black community, we want this, and only talk to Senator Mckinney, but Senator Mckinney only represents a certain area. Like you be mute trying to talk about your plight to Senator Mckinney when he can't necessarily vote in your district.
Right. So
we definitely have to, I think, first address these things, and I'm not saying people aren't thinking about them, but I don't see it just outwardly addressed when we talk about organizing, because again, this letter that was sent out from the Black Advocates Group was directed towards D2, but maybe it should be wider than that.
So about this letter, and by the way, if you haven't seen this, then go to Sherman Wells' page and check out his latest sermon with Sherman that he had with Joaquin Fox and Miss Cheryl Weston. Definitely check that out. and they go through the list and they talk about what they talk about there, what their complaints are. We know where they sent the list out with the document out to for people to try to answer, and definitely check it out and hear what they have to say about that, because I don't feel like they're wrong at all. The stuff that they're asking for is stuff that we've been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It's the effort of putting it down on paper, the effort of putting people together, organizing people together, and to come as one voice to address these things with these people is the action here.
Mm-hmm.
What's next?
Right. And again, to hammer my point home, it's hard to come as one voice if we're not on the same page of like who we're talking about, where we're talking about, or what we're talking about. So again, just think about that. But yes, I do appreciate the notion, the feeling of, again, trying to organize, trying to come with some at least goals, even before you get to action steps. What are the goals? And Tony Johnson asking, are groups like Black Agenda Alliance, NAACP, Black Democrats, etc., not organizing and operating in South Omaha? I can say on the Black Agenda Alliance, I have seen a connection between the BAA and the Simple Foundation, which is located in South Omaha. Brother Salasaka, Brother Uzman. Like there is some connection as far as the Black community. And Kimra, we've been listening to what you've been saying as far as, changing. This has been an education in us over these years. We came into First Guy Omaha thinking North Omaha. Our first tagline was Omaha news from a North Side perspective. But you specifically, Sister Kimra, have shaped us into saying East Omaha. And now it is beyond just geographic. It is more so just Black folk in general, wherever they are. So on that level, I do really appreciate this list. So let's go ahead and get into some of these goals as far as what I'm going to call not just D2, but the Black agenda. As far as this election coming up, health and wellness, currently in Omaha, Black people's life expectancy is 10 years shorter than their white counterparts. And this is what I appreciate about their approach. Each point has a metric. Success, again, they're defining what success is when talking about these things. At the end of the 4 years, that racial disparity being cut in half. Again, the racial disparity of life expectancy being 10 years shorter. Their goal is to make it 5 years shorter. Housing. Success on this metric is to define the first year that affordable housing in D2 is monthly rent of no more than $1,200 for a family of 3, which is the average household size in District 2. Again, this is a geographic based, but I like the idea. And again, I will toss it to the chat here in a second to hear your thoughts on these. As far as economics, they wanted the D2 to be level with the city as far as economic median household income, which is $48,000 for D2 versus $72,000 for the rest of the city. And criminal justice reform, we'll end with that one. At the end of the 4 years, racial disparity should be decreased by half. Again, talking about the incarceration rate of Nebraska Black people being 9.5 times higher than white counterparts. So again, action steps, not really action steps, but goals, metrics, an idea of what success is. Thoughts?
Yeah, first of all, shout out to Jakeem Fox for adding these metrics in. I think it's very important to say that it's very clear who it is that they're talking about, who the agenda is for. When you put in metrics like that, we're talking about Black folks wherever they are have a 10-year less life expectancy than other groups. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm,
So like,
mm-hmm.
yeah, we talk wherever they are. It doesn't really matter. But they are talking about Black folks in District 2. This is to the district. This is them deciding that they need to appeal to the political part of what goes on, and the political part is the thing that's structured in geographic areas. And I always like to bring it back, especially it's funny. It's always around like 6 minutes before the end of the show at 8:00, where I'm trying to bring it back to say that the political arm is just one part of the plan. We have to do a whole bunch of other things that require us to organize and get together, and not just rely on the politicians to make the changes that are needed. The politicians making changes that are needed is one piece of a broader plan that we need to do about getting together. And it's the same story with me, like every show when we come down to that, because we talk a lot about politics, especially in this particular season. and we talk a lot about what it is that elected officials can do. This list was an appeal to elected officials. This wasn't necessarily an appeal to the Black community as a whole, for all of us to get together. And there was a different agenda here for this particular list that this particular advocacy group put together. This is This is political. What can the people in the seats do for us? And if that's the question, then we have to look at what seats those areas control. So we're talking about, but we know them well enough to know that they're talking about all Black folks with these disparities, not just the ones in District 2. But if they're addressing the politicians that are going to be in District 2, what are they going to do about that in their area? And I can just imagine. Hopefully, they're thinking that it might spread to everywhere else. Who knows? So we'll see. Before we go to a break here, just a couple more things here. Kimmer says the Simple Foundation only works with their kids. Earlier, Wanda Lewis said the Simple Foundation has also been supportive in North Omaha. Heather Williams in the chat, good morning, says the basics in the letter, in my opinion, address all Black people with the focus on D2. The entire conversation dealt with the two candidates that represent D2.
Right.
Yeah. Needed, very much needed. Again, it's something that's needed because we do need people in seats to help with this situation. We just can't rely on that completely. So there's more to it. There's more groups that need to be formed and more lists that need to be made about what it is that we want and need. Good morning, Gwen Easter. Appreciate you coming in. Heather Williams says they were trying to open a discussion with these two candidates, and sadly that didn't happen. That's unfortunate. Also, Tony Johnson says $1,200 for rent for income of North Omaha means 50% of families is for housing. Might need to relook at goal and metric.
Okay.
Kimmer also says, I'm not saying I don't appreciate the list, because I do. Again, my question was specifically around who exactly is it for. As a Black woman and elected official, I'm curious.
Yeah.
Love that perspective. Appreciate you asking that. And also one last one, Tony Johnson says you have to take into account taxes and others that reduce take-home pay. Have to be cautious about small increased pay can reduce poverty services tremendously. Small increased pay. The bill out right now is trying to slow down that minimum wage.
Yeah.
More stuff. As a matter of fact, we're gonna come back here in the second hour and talk to the senators. Don't forget, we're on one more hour today than usual. We'll be from 8 to 9 talking to the senators. It'll be the Senator Cypher going down. Senator Ashlei Spivey, Senator Terrell Mckinney will join us, and we can talk a lot more about some of these things as well. And Senator Mckinney is the one that reminds me all the time. He's like, don't put your faith in one politician or one office to make the changes that are needed. We can't just lean on that. Put all of our energy on trying to get them to do the right thing. A whole lot more we need to do besides that. So
yeah, I mean, and for me, it's evolving how we have the conversation, like having a more holistic and realistic approach to the conversation. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to say, okay, part of our goal as a community is to get Black people in the office. And so once we get the Black people in the office, do we expect them to solve all the problems, even in districts that they don't represent? Like, how are we having this conversation? How are we approaching this? How are we thinking about this as a group collectively? Is really the conversation. My question, I would say. And also I do appreciate Brother Tony Johnson's responses. I would like to hear if anybody has any pushback or any ideas on this agenda as a whole. He's saying $1,200 rent might not work, might need to revisit that goal and metric. Any other ideas? Again, this is my goal for this conversation is to better organize. I do like this approach from the Black Advocates group, and let's talk about it. Let's talk about it and develop together. It's a good start.
And we absolutely will have, I'm sure, Brother Jakeem Fox, Sister Cheryl Weston, and Brother Sherman Wells onto the show. We can ask them directly what their goal is behind this effort. But I'm glad that we dove in to discuss what the effort was. I think it's news. It's news that there's some Black folks that are getting together and deciding that they're going to come up with some questions and some metrics and really put it to the politicians that are happening right here when it's getting ready to be time to vote for them. So be interesting to see what's going to end up happening. Appreciate that, and appreciate all of you as well. Wanda Lewis in the chat is saying they allow the use of their food truck during Christmas. This is you talking about that
Simple Foundation.
Simple Foundation. Excuse me, in the Christmas in the Village to feed the people for free. Make sure to educate us on passing the food inspection with no problems. They remain present the whole time. They also gave toys to North Omaha during Christmas. Toys for Tots. That's what's up. So this is some of the stuff the Simple Foundation is doing. I think, and Simple Foundation is based in South Omaha. I think this is why this is relevant here. So appreciate that, and I appreciate that information there on what happens there. It's kind of interesting to think about, like what groups over there are there to help Black folks there in South Omaha, and especially when you're talking about geographically based. Kimmer says she walked out the door and everybody she sees look like her. So
South Omaha.
huge pockets of Black folks in South Omaha. Are they feeling included in what goes on in South Omaha? Do they feel connected to North Omaha? What do they feel abandoned? Like how Kimmer is saying. We'll see.
That's what I'm saying. And that makes a difference. If we approach this from a race first perspective rather than a geographic perspective, maybe that shifts things. Maybe we're more aware of what Senator Roundtree is doing. Maybe more aware of what people in South Omaha are doing. Just a thought.
Mama God is leaving us with something that's pretty cool. Effective July 1st, landlords can only charge one first month rent nationally. That will help many.
Man,
so,
okay.
So the first and last and security the deposit no longer a thing.
Man, need your first child, your social security number, your arm, your leg, first month, last month.
Mama maiden name, mama address.
Man.
Where you shop, everything. Let's take a quick break. It's 8:01 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, welcome to the second hour of First Sky Omaha in the morning.
My
name is Paul B. He's Buddy the Guy. We're going to take a quick break and come back. It'll be time for the Senator Cypher. Stay tuned, y'all. It's going down.
Hey. Wake up. Yeah. Wake up. Wake up, 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 wake up. Wake up, 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 wake up. You better wake up from this dream. Life is not what it seems. This culture's not your reality. You better unplug or be a casualty. Cause the life that we lose in the drug and boozing is keeping us off from our greatness. We gotta spread the love and stop hating. Then rearrange these front pages. From murder and death to building our wealth. We moving in stealth. Milking the game till there's nothing left. And teaching my people to love themselves. I'm crashing on competition. That's an interference with the commission. Man, we tired of listening, so we standing up. Unification amongst us. Wake up, 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 wake up.
Welcome back. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Just a little Sherman Wells for you, telling you to wake on up to the second hour. It is going to be time for the Senator Cypher as soon as they join us. We appreciate everybody that's come in and joined us and been deep into the conversation here. This is the kind of show that I really like a lot, was when we can really fan out in the conversation, expand the conversation, and really have some great dialogue and get you closer to some conclusions about how it is you feel, what it is you think, and what we need to be doing. So shout out for that. One of the things we didn't mention earlier in the show about some haps coming up, man, shout out to Omaha Performing Arts has been doing some wild stuff. The Culture Talk is coming up May 15th. We'll talk more about this when we get closer to the date. But the Culture Talk So Fresh, So Clean is happening. And then, of course, the Hip Hop Lab Block Party 2 is happening right after that. The next day, it's kind of an after party. Shout out to Omaha Performing Arts. Shout out to Culture House. Shout out to everybody involved with with what's going on here with this Hip Hop Lab, man. I went to the first hip hop lab and got to see some of the legends, man. Some of the legends that are getting down in a big way. And we just appreciate what it is that they're doing to kind of big up what's happening in hip hop. I think it was one of the cast from Dead Prez came to the first hip hop lab that we were talking about. Stickman, I think was there.
Yeah, I think it was Stick.
And they will be at the 100th anniversary Malcolm X Memorial Foundation event that's coming up as well. And of course, I lost the
graphic.
I lost the graphic on that one. I'll bring that back up later, but you already know what it is. It's going down over at the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation, man. 100th year anniversary with Dead Prez performing. We definitely are going to have to talk about that coming up in a big way. shout out to them. Before we get back into this conversation, man, I found a quote that I thought was very appropriate for what it is that's going on. Langston Hughes back in 36 said, "Fascism is a new name for that kind of terror the Negro has always faced in America. This kind of terrorism is extending more and more to groups of people whose skin are not black." And according to a lot of my white friends who are very much mad at what's going on in this current administration, seems to be holding true. Look to you black folks who's been going through this already all the time. And yeah, that's the the story really is like, when it gets directed to other folks, other groups. Just think about the whole situation with the DEI situation that affected white women and veterans and other people way more than it affected black folks. And that's the reason why you're getting a lot of pushback. People marching in the streets on a regular basis. Mainstream news doesn't show it, but people are marching all around the globe over
Man,
being upset about this man being in here changing what he's changing. So there you go. Before the break, we were talking about this whole idea of what goes on between South Side, North Side. Buddy was talking about the story that the South Side Plaza de la Raza is underway, is going for it. And then that led into a conversation about when we talk about the diaspora here, what's going on with black folks. How black folks that live in the South Side, they're feeling together. Kimmer Snipes is on and in the chat, having a lot to say about that since she lives over on the South Side. So that'll be something that we want to really pay attention to. As a matter of fact, in the chat, she says, "I can only talk about what happens with Simple Foundation in my neighborhood in South Omaha. I can't speak to events that they show up for in North Omaha," because the question was kind of posed, does South Omaha groups, do they ever come over to North Omaha, or do they take care of the black folks in South Omaha? Do black groups go over to South Omaha as well and take care of black folks in AACP? We know the BAA does. What about what about Urban League? What about a lot of the other organizations? Do they? It's kind of the question. But I appreciate that very much. Also, before I jump over to Buddy, Heather Williams says, "I think we should look at intention. We know the Black Advocacy Group. We see them in our community. They live in D2. They want the right representation. I don't believe it is their intention to make anyone feel abandoned. They are trying to put for D, trying to put for
look out.
look out for D2. Thank you. They call Black Advocacy they call Black Advocacy Group, not the North Omaha Black Advocacy Group. Just my opinion. Yeah, okay, I can see that. Definitely see that. RG in the chat, cognitive dissonance shouldn't occur when we're talking about factual information. If it happens, that's absolute ego. We see that a lot. Appreciate that. Also, and Wanda Lewis says, "I just sent you something in Messenger. Breaking news just posted. Thought I'd share that with you. Get your take." Okay, let me grab that and see what's going on there. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I was actually looking at it. It deals with a nonprofit losing a grant theater.
Which nonprofit?
Says yeah, we'll look into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Let's continue this conversation. If you got some other thoughts, I'd love to hear them. We'll definitely jump back into the chat and talk about those a little bit. And I'll also ask the senators, man. This is the hour of Senator Cypher, and we have a senator sitting in the wings right now. We're gonna go ahead and bring him in, brother Senator Terrell McKinney. Put some respect on his name in the house. Good morning, brother. How you doing?
Good. How y'all doing?
Done all right,
man. Not bad for a Monday. Not bad for a Monday.
Yeah.
And with that said, as well, man, we have our second guest coming in as well, sitting waiting in the wings. Miss Senator Ashlei Spivey. Put some respect on her name. She's here too. Good morning.
Good morning. I wonder why my headphones aren't connecting. Sorry, I'm like troubleshooting tech.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, that's what we do. We do that all the time.
And speaking of that, can you hear me? Can you see me? I lost my camera.
Where are you at, buddy?
I don't know. I don't know what's going on, man.
Yeah, you're not on deck. I'm not seeing what's happening here.
But you can hear me though.
I can hear you though.
That's crazy.
Let me throw you out and bring you back in and see what's happening. Yeah, you might have to jump out and come back in. I'm not sure what's going on.
my camera is on and everything. I can see my. Okay, yeah, this is weird. All right.
Jump back on. Appreciate it. Good morning to y'all. Tell me how you doing this morning. What's going on, Miss Spivey?
Good morning. How are you doing, Paul B?
I'm trying to hang in there. I've been kind of all week long for the last 2-3 weeks, a little under the weather, trying to knock it out and hang in there.
I know. It feels like there's something always going on, going around. Super germy.
That's them kids. Hashtag
Mhm.
kids and germs.
Literally full of germs.
How you doing, brother McKinney? What's going on with you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm straight.
Did y'all get out this weekend? Do anything fun?
No, not too much, honestly.
I played with the baby all weekend. So we did like
Hey.
outside stuff. And I shop at Aldi and I love Aldi. And they had this little cute lawnmower that does bubbles. So he got that and like a gardening set and was digging in dirt. And we went to go like try a different new play places around the city. So
See, that's how y'all do. Start training them early, and then by 13, like go out there and mow that lawn. Then they mad.
and I got a
You know,
big
Ma,
yard
you
and
know.
I got a big yard too. So that would save lots of
You
money.
ain't slick. I'm gonna tell them when I see them.
Get ready, get ready.
Well, that's what's up, man. We appreciate you guys coming on. I know that the big part of this conversation is really about this situation with the bill that's talking about detaining 11-year-olds. That's hot in
Mhm.
Yeah.
discussion right now. So what do you think, buddy? Just dive in on this particular point here.
Yeah. There's a lot going on. You know, not just detaining 11-year-olds, but just in general, like just the climate around prisons. I think last time we spoke to you, Senator Spivey, you were preparing to go into the prisons. I believe NSP or York to
I
take a
went to Tecumseh.
The comes okay, to take a
Mhm.
tour, and just looking at the climate politically, nationally. Trump talking about detaining U.S. citizens and sending them to El Salvador. He's talking about opening up Alcatraz. Like the prison state is getting crazy, and of course, we know Nebraska is not too far behind, trying to build their own prisons, and now they're talking about filling them potentially with children. So I'll start with you, Senator Spivey, to kind of get your take on that visit, how that has impacted where you are now, and kind of go from there.
Yeah, I would say it's been a really hard week for me last week, just where everything was. So the bill now, the number is now 530,
Mhm.
which is a vehicle for what was LB 556, which was Senator Reepe's bill around detaining kids, charging them as adults. And it was really tough because I felt like in the process, they sprung it on us. So,
Mm.
like, Senator McKinney is a part of judiciary, and I'll let him speak to his experience around getting the information about the bill. But, like, they sprung it on the committee. They read it over the mic one day, and then it was on the agenda the next day. And so it felt like very chaotic for me until I get the information. And what they did, the judiciary packed like 8 bills into one bill. Good
Mm.
morning, Bubby. And one of those bills is 684 and 556, which basically it created an enhanced penalty to a felony if a juvenile on probation tampered with their electronic device. Right now, it's a misdemeanor. It detains kids that are 10 and 11. It creates a super predator category, like out of the 90s.
Mm.
Mhm. And so it says that if you are a specific type of juvenile probationary that needs more services, you're basically a super predator.
Like
And yeah, I
like
mean
Hillary
literally
Clinton,
like
Hillary
Hillary
Clinton super
Clinton
predator.
out of the 90s. Yes. And why it is super predator language is because we know that currently in our juvenile system is disproportionately representative of Black and brown kids. So there's racial impacts to this language. And so it was really hard. And I worked with Senator McKinney around like, what do we do? Like, I could not sleep. I was calling
Mm.
him early on the ride down to Lincoln, texting him late. I'm like, and I know he and Senator Wayne have worked really hard around juvenile justice reform. And so just to speak to a little bit about the process of that bill when it was heard, we divided out the question. So instead of looking at the package altogether, we said, let's take each bill separately. And as punishment, they try to divide out Senator McKinney's bill, which I'll let him speak to that. And then we spent time on those portions that I just named that were really terrible. So one of the small wins that we got out of that is that they adopted an amendment to keep tampering with a device a misdemeanor versus a felony. but we're currently still in negotiations with the people that support this bill around changing it, and we'll continue that into this week. So,
Wow.
Yeah. Senator McKinney.
Yeah. So as far as the package, they had brought it to us, I believe, on a Thursday, and they gave us the amendment that includes 684 and 556 the same day. So nobody really had time to digest it at all. So we get in there, and I'm just looking through it like, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. I got a problem with this, and like they're trying to take a vote on it. And it was like, dude, like y'all just gave this to us, and I disagree with the whole thing. And so it still got voted out because the Judiciary Committee is a 5-3 committee with 5 Republicans and 3 Democrats. So we just vote wise outnumbered, and they've been moving out all type of stuff this year, new felonies and things like that. So then that was like a Thursday or something. So then I think that on a Monday it just popped up on the agenda. I'm like, damn, like this just got read across, and I just put it on the agenda, like no warning at all. So we just was scrambling to try to, address all the concerns we had. I had a bill in there to allow for post-conviction relief for people who are sentenced under 18. Because I told them, I was like, if y'all gonna lock up y'all trying to lock up these kids at a younger age, and y'all throwing them into adult situation, but then they are not educated enough to know how to navigate the legal process. And what happens is, with post-conviction relief, you only get a year after you get sentenced to file that motion. But when I've talked to a lot of youth in like NCYF or people that were, but they're in NSP now, they're like, dude, like I was 15, 16. I don't know how to write a motion to the court and say my lawyer messed up or they gave the wrong instruction, and they don't have law library like that. So that's why I brought that bill. Then they tried to come to me like, do you really want your bill to pass? I was like, yeah, I want my bill to pass, but not at the expense of this other bill. Like my bill could die. And so it's just interesting, man. And these
So they
people
gave you
crazy.
an ultimatum.
Yeah, but they didn't realize I'm not. They can't. That it is what it is. The bill is out of committee, so I'll find a way. But it's still on right now.
Paul?
Man, I don't even know what to say, bro. I'm just like,
well,
oh, I'm
and
sorry.
I'll just add, I've been looking at the chat. I know you told me not to, but I have. And so I think to me, what is disgusting about this process is, so just a reminder, I'm on the Appropriations Committee, the committee that's responsible for the state budget, right? And the legislature appropriates to our executive branch, which is the governor, and our judicial branch, like Supreme Court, courts, and all that. Like that is our job. And by Constitution, we have to have a balanced budget. So we currently have a 280 million still deficit. And there's conversations about like, what do we prioritize? What do we spend? What do we do? Whatever. And again, Senator McKinney and Wayne were vocal about this earlier. And I said, we don't need to build a new prison. So with LB having the Supreme Court opinion that it's not unconstitutional, more people, close to 1,500, bless you, 1,500 would be eligible for parole. So corrections needs to do its job and prepare folks, give them their programming. That means the prison population is going to decrease. And so instead of spending this money on a prison, what we can do is get folks back into the community, make sure that they have the right supports. I've put together some amendment language that would allocate about 80 million to that. So that can be grants to community orgs, addressing like vouchers for housing for reentry. 100 million would go to deferred maintenance and NSP, because we know that like the living conditions are terrible, but they are already slated to decommission that. So if we put to deferred maintenance, it'll make it a little bit better while they decommission it. And then the rest can go to our general fund to address the deficit, about 50 million. And so it's really about priorities. And every time I bring this up as a member of appropriations, I have bill language. They don't want to talk about it. And so then when you think about from the juveniles, what they're doing with enhanced penalties, trying to detain kids, they're going to try to again expand our prison population and get and create this pipeline. And so to me, that's the disgusting part. Like they stand up and say, we support women and children. And we want to do these things. And it's like, well, your actions and the policy that you're proposing and voting for is the exact opposite, and there's no accountability, and they don't want to sit in that conversation. So even when you lay out the facts, they don't want to sit in that conversation. They don't want to have those hard conversations. And to me, that is the most disappointing part, because they continue to say that these are their values, but their behaviors demonstrate something that is total opposite.
Hypocrisy. Actually, to that point, I wanted to address Senator McKinney and Senator Spivey, if you wanted to chime in on this. But the interaction we saw last week, talking about priorities and appropriation, the interaction that Senator McKinney had about them drawing the comparison about pulling money from the prison versus pulling money from North and South Omaha. And I had to look at his platform, the biggest hypocritical statement, somebody who on their own platform say they support economic development for all communities, but again, talk about pulling economic development money. It's mind-boggling. And I'm just wondering, like, before even addressing that interaction, how do y'all deal with people like clearly playing in your face, like clearly playing in your face? Like, how do you make the comparison between building a community versus building a prison? I just, yeah.
Well, we saw how you did it, brother Senator McKinney. We played that clip. Well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't let them get away with it, and they're emboldened, and people like him feel like they could just say anything because they got technically, more votes than us in there, so they feel like they could run over us, and they feel as though like we just gonna back down or we gonna shut up because we have bills ourselves. And honestly, I just told them, I was like, all my bills could die, but I'm not about to stand here and let you get away with saying any of the stuff you've been saying, going away the way you've been doing all session. So for me, it's just telling them like it is and just living with it and not being afraid of the consequence. I don't care what the consequence is, because if I'm standing up for Black people from my community, then I'll die on that sword any day.
That's real. Super hot topic. Cameron Snipes put this up a little while back. Protect Nebraska's youth, vote no on this. AM 1149. Kids as young as 11 could be detained. Mental health struggles, jail time, no public hearing, rush to law. She says, take action, call your senator, show up at the Capitol, and share the post. Another thing that I just saw too was something that the Omaha Police Officers Association put out, which was talking about these elderly people that got attacked. And in this post, you can see one of them was as young as 11 years old, and it really put the point across of what it is that the fight that's happening.
Yeah, but they are, that whole 11-year-old thing. I'm so annoyed they keep saying, like, there was an 11-year-old in the situation. The 11-year-old was not the shooter. He was in the back seat, and he was found incompetent to even be charged as an adult. They leave that out the conversation.
Exactly, and just leaving there that it's an 11-year-old because of that. Because it goes with this, you can see how in conjunction they are with the legislation that they're trying to pass on this. That exact age is what stood out to me.
Well, and I want to be clear that a lot of this comes from Don Klein. And so when we talk about the like building our political base as a community, the legislature is one part, but all of these systems work together. And I think sometimes we forget that. And so who is mobilizing to find a candidate to run against Don Klein? Like that is the question. And that is going to be important, because if you look at our overcrowding issue, if you look at the disproportionate nature of Black men and Black boys in the juvenile and adult system, they come from Douglas County, they come from District 11 and 13. So like, if we're not going to change that office, we are always going to have to play defense. And so I think we need to start thinking strategically going upstream, and like we need to think 5 years out. We need to be thinking 10 years out and doing the work now to be able to get there to see that change.
Yeah. Appreciate your comments on this. If anybody in the chat wants to comment on this too, please let me know. This subject here of these detaining 11-year-olds is a touch point. We've been on for a while. Measure Miller Jenkins says, when do we get to see some dramatic pushback reflective of the dramatic assaults we're experiencing? I think we're all asking that question and feeling that in a big way.
Yeah, and I mean, and for me, like, I think before I got in this seat, like I did this work like through Ivy Black Girl or other orgs, right? And so I think I think we as a community need to think about how do we mobilize together. And I think sometimes we're not always going to agree on everyone's stance, and that's fine. Like sometimes you might be like, well, I don't actually like this person, but they do good work. And so how do we focus on the work? And we're the only community that says that like you have to have a leader, which I think is weird. Like no other community have like community leaders in that same sense. Like people are just organizing, they're part of an ecosystem, they're collaborating. And so and I think that is a result of like white supremacy culture, like in our community, right? Like perpetuated in systems. So I think we as a community have to start decolonizing our approach and figuring out how do we move the needle forward together in a way that's not in the same like framework or structure that we have had before. So
it's Paul, you say this all the time, and I feel like that statement just basically encapsulated everything I was trying to say in the first hour. Like everything I was trying to say in the whole first hour, she pretty much just said in that one statement, as far as decolonize our approach to how we solve our problems and look at it from a different perspective. Man. Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. I'm sorry, chat's going off.
Here's an interesting comment. Jahi Shabazz says, evil is repetitious, not creative. The entire penal system in the South was produced by taking 9 and 10-year-olds and giving them life sentences in prison. Yeah, think about the history.
So I also want to uplift. So there was a case, Miller versus Alabama, that was out of Louisiana, specifically that said you can't give kids de facto life sentences. And so there was some work done in the legislature in Mckinney. You could probably talk more about like what was passed around making sure that kids didn't have these life sentences. That changed on the books. And then there was some work around severe mental illness, around using like restrictive housing and some other things. But I still have a bill. It's not dead. It's in the Judiciary Committee. I'm actually amending it onto this terrible bill to try to get it adopted where young kids can still get de facto life sentences because of the ranges for these felony charges. And so my bill cut them like in half. Really like I think a third. But it went from like a max penalty for like say class a 1A felony or something, went from like 80 years to max. I made it 20. So like just very like, because they're all arbitrary numbers right now anyway. There's no science behind someone getting 80 years, 60 years, 40 years, that it's rehabilitative. And so I just cut it so that these kids can actually have a chance at rehabilitation and life on the outside. And so I think that is a place where we'll continue to try to push to around like, as Senator Mckinney mentioned, they have the votes. And so we're playing a lot of defense. So then how can we slow stuff down, add amendments? I have an amendment on this bill currently that would make the state pay for all services that were accrued by the probation like department, so that again, because it's going to become an unfunded mandate, they don't have the money now to provide services. So imagine if you start detaining kids younger, if you have these enhanced penalties, who's going to pay for it? Who's going to pay for the additional services? And so I'm hoping that that can also slow it down or stop it. So we're trying a mix of things to try to have accountability.
Scrambling.
Scrambling.
Measure Miller Jenkins, to clear up something that she asked earlier. She says building community is great, but I was asking, as a person in power, what will y'all do to push back dramatically? I think the bills and things you guys are working on now is answer that question. What do you think?
Yeah, and I would say, and Senator McKinney, I don't know if you feel this way, like because you've been in the ledge longer, it's tough. And a lot of things community doesn't see that we do, a lot of things that we hold, a lot of conversations, like a lot of strategic moves, and it wears on you. And so I think just from observing Senator McKinney and me being a freshman senator, he holds a lot. And does a lot of things and gets policy like tucked into other policies. Like there's a lot of pushback, and sometimes it can't be loud because if it's loud, then we don't have the sheer numbers or sheer people in like voting capacity positions that would allow for us to be successful. And so I would say there also has to be some trust there that we are doing all that we can and are leaving it on the floor every day, are leaving it in the ledge to create a difference.
Right. Senator McKinney?
Yeah, I would say I push back dramatically every day. Since day one, like I've been at war with these people all the time. Like they hate when I get up and talk. As soon as I say something, it's a problem. As soon as I do something, it's a problem. Anytime anything that's associated with me, if it's on the agenda, all of them want to ask questions, and so I would say I feel like I push back dramatically every day. I'm in Lincoln all the time, so I'm not able to be in the streets or like that, but I'm outside. I'm still doing what I can do. So I would say I push back dramatically
Yeah, that
all
goes
the
to the
time.
point. Goes to the point that we, keep echoing. Like it's the elected official is just one part of it, and when you really look at the grand scheme of things, it's almost one small part. You know what I mean? Like it's can't happen in the
Well,
vacuum.
and Ella Baker said, strong people don't need strong leaders. And I believe that. So, like, I don't think elected officials are here to save anyone. Like, we're a conduit, right, to the larger voice of the people. And so that's why I think having a stronger or different approach to our base building as community is what's going to make the difference, right? Because we each hold a position no matter what elected official role you're talking about, but they're not going to be the end all be all. Look at this legislative session. There are things that Senator Wayne and Justin put forward, like tax credits for development, and they're rolling those back in the revenue package.
Oh yeah,
So like we have to have a bigger base than just us.
Yeah, and I appreciate you saying that. That's something that I definitely actually, Senator McKinney, you taught me that you kept saying, don't put your faith in one politician, one seat. The fact that you are in the seat and doing what you can do for it, but also, we have dealings with the Black Agenda Alliance and other organizations that get together to try to do for each other and have the rest of that goal, the rest of the things that we need handled from the efforts that we do. That it's just a part of what happens here is what you guys are doing in those seats over there. So like the sentiment is saying, Jahisha Baz is saying, thank you, senators, for protecting and fighting for our children right now and in the future. And I appreciate you guys coming onto the show to tell us how you're doing that in the legislature. And what the limitations and even what the limitations are, what we need to pick up the slack with. It's kind of all it's the most valuable piece of Senator Cypher for me.
Yeah, and I mean, I know as elected officials, we were voted and put in position to fight for the community, and I feel like I do, and I feel like Senator Spivey do. But what I'm really trying to say is we can't wait. Our people can't wait for people to save us. We got to save ourselves at all levels, whether you're at the grassroots or you in the legislature. I think we got to have that philosophy that there, like, it's too many examples and it's too much evidence that we have to save ourselves. We can't expect somebody to do something all the time. We all got to do it collectively as one. That's why I always preach unity, because I feel like if we're not united, then we're gonna continue to, have a lot of pitfalls, because like y'all were talking about the Plaza La Raza in South Omaha. I know some people over there disagree with it, but from my perspective, they did, as part of that, they came together and said, you know what, we all gonna collectively put this idea together to get these resources from ARPA to economically develop our community. And at times I feel like everybody wants to be the leader or wants to say my idea is better than this idea. And sometimes you the leader, and sometimes you just you have to be a follower, and you have to learn how to navigate that. Everybody can't be out front, and everybody not always right. I think we have to see it from that perspective that if we can't find a way to work together despite whatever, then we always gonna have these issues.
Yeah. I think that goes, it's been expressed a couple of times as far as like people seeming in the community is a phenomenon, people wanting the credit and wanting the credit.
Or
No,
they were talking about like that black advocacy thing, and some people saying like, oh, the metrics not right. What's wrong with shooting for the moon? Because I heard people saying, like that might not be attainable. It might not be, but why can't we try
man.
and see where we get?
And I do want to get into that plan with you and get your feedback on that, because I think that's what the conversation is like. Aside from rallying behind a leader or some individual, I think we would be better suited agreeing on ideas, agreeing on concepts, regardless of who they come from or where they come from. Do the ideas benefit the greater good, and who can get it done? How can we get this done? I think is where the conversation should go. But before we get into that list, I do want to get into the chat. A few people are asking the same question as far as who's supporting you. So we're talking about, coming together in unity. People are asking about the ACLU, NAACP. As far as the conversations we're having, are you getting a lot of feedback, support from these organizations?
I mean, yeah, I mean the ACLU people always at the legislature and talking to us about bills and stuff like that. NAACP not as much. They reach out, but I wouldn't say not even close to as much interactions I probably have with the ACLU.
How can NAACP and Urban League and these other places, how can they even help? What is it that they can even do to help the situation? What do you expect out of organizations like that to help you do what you're doing?
Mobilize the people, get people to Lincoln. You know, we have bills and just educate people about the process, number one, but do what you can in your capacity. If you're if you're a civil rights organization, and I've told them this before, I expect more of you. I expect you to be present, not just for voter ID or those type of things. What about the criminal justice piece of this? What about the economic justice piece of this? It can't just be we're gonna come down for the electoral vote and that's it.
Yeah. Senator
Can I
Spivey,
just
what's your
add one thing
yes, please.
really quick to that? So, I'm the former board president of ACLU, so they have a special place in my heart. And I talk to the executive director a lot about what's going on. And outside of like them being there and present, they have really specifically asked me, because of our relationship, of just like, how do they not co-op space, but like, what does that look like? And I know I was looking at the chat, there is strategy, litigation strategy that they are exploring around some of the bills that are being introduced. So I will leave that high level there and people read into the lines. And then I would also say, you do got Lightning McQueen. I would also say the other thing is that while civil rights organizations are traditionally the people that stand in that gap, I think we need, again, reimagine what that looks like. So I know Kimera is in the chat. What can one Omaha be doing from a neighborhood perspective? Like there's other orgs that can help to mobilize and do things. And while I know that those were traditional leaders in this space around these things, I think we have to radically reimagine who fills what space. And just, don't assume or expect that that's always the case, that those two orgs are going to step up. Like, and it's no shade to them. I'm just in general, right? Like, I think that there's a lot of orgs that can do things differently, and we can reimagine our approach.
Yeah, I hear that. Stephen Abraham in the chat says our unity factor is trying to bounce back thanks to leadership on different levels that worked and working to align the mission. What are some of the organizations and people, so quote unquote leaders or more so groups and organizations that you feel are working towards that unity that you're talking about, Senator McKinney?
I would say, BAA, Untamed, who
Say again. You
else?
kind of cut out there.
Sorry, no, I was gonna say the BAA, Black Agenda Alliance,
Mhm.
Untamed, North Omaha Community Partnership, uh, that that group, the Black Advocacy Group. Like it's people trying to come together and trying to get on one accord. So I don't want to just name off people, 'cause then I'm gonna miss somebody and somebody can probably be offended.
Mm-hmm.
But it there is people trying it, and I've tried to. We've had one meeting with all like Black elected officials in Omaha. Everybody wasn't there, but I think I tried to invite everybody. And after this election, I'm gonna try to pull everybody back in the room to
Nice.
have another conversation and see how we all begin to work together
That's what's
more.
up. Appreciate it. It's 8:40 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, if you're just joining us, we're here with Senator Terrell McKinney, Senator Ashlei Spivey. It is the Senator's Cypher. We're getting some answers to some questions we've been wondering about and talking about all week, especially about this bill that where they're talking about detaining 11-year-olds. If you miss any part of that conversation, go back and check it out on YouTube. Definitely want to hear what they have to say. Kimmer in the chat says One Omaha is always having these conversations. I can attest to that. I've definitely heard One Omaha speaking up and trying to gather folks and using the platform in order to really push for those things as well. And of course, entities like us, we're trying to do the same thing. I mean, it's really interesting how like everybody who we're talking about that we're trying to involve and help these conversations out are always talking about unity. That's the thing that we talk about
Yeah.
all the time,
See?
unity. And
Teamwork.
it seems to be the thing that eludes a lot of us in the community, especially the Black community. It eludes us a lot of the times.
But I think
And
one thing we all, but I think one thing we all forget is that I think some people think you need this mass group of people to get change.
Just
Like
need
when
a
you
few.
look at movements from the past, it wasn't the masses. Honestly, like a lot of people hated Martin Luther King. A lot of people hated Malcolm X. Like they had followers and things like that. But when you think like the whole Black community, when you dig into the history, a lot of people didn't like them. When you think about the Black Panther Party, that wasn't the whole Black community, and some of the Black community thought they was crazy, but they was young people that organized and got a lot of great things done. But you don't need 50,000 people to get change, and you don't even need 50 people. You just need enough people that are on the same page that's willing to stand with you.
I'm
I
glad you
would
said that.
also say though, unity doesn't mean that you don't have discourse, that there's not accountability. Like I think people say unity and it's like we all hold hands and we agree on every
Mm-hmm.
step. Like no, again, unity, I don't even have to like you. Like we're
Mm-hmm.
aligned on the work and the goal that's in front of us and we can do it together because you are that right person to do it. And so I think we just, again, have to radically reimagine how we are in relationship with each other. One of the things that we've tried to do at like Ivy Black Girl is be rooted in beloved community, which is a framework that was kind of introduced by Malcolm or Martin Luther King Jr. and then like codified by Bell Hooks. And it talks about how are you in the right relationships in these tenets that are really rooted in love to create movements and to move things forward. And so I think figuring out the right relationship is really important. And then, like I said, there's still accountability, there's still discourse. And so that won't change.
That's super
Um,
interesting. That especially with that Bell Hooks reference. I've never even put her in that context with that thought. I'm definitely gonna dig into
oh
that
yeah,
more.
I'm gonna send you an article that we use that's in so our friends at Ubuntu Research and Evaluation, which is a Afrofuturist evaluation firm out of Milwaukee,
Nice.
helped to build our infrastructure at Ivy Black Girl around that. And like and
Mm.
our bones
Mm.
are in bell hooks. So again,
Mm.
like Black women intellectuals again are the moral compass of society. And so I think just what she talks about and poses questions around and pushes you on, for me, beloved community, um, has been like a guidepost and keeps me aligned when I feel like I get irritated with my community or, like these things happen. Like it helps to recenter around like, okay, what does this actually mean? What am I trying to process? And then how do I stay in the right relationship despite me having a big feeling about something,
Mm-hmm.
So.
I appreciate you saying that a lot because I do that every about 3-4 months. I'll be like, why am I doing this? Who am I doing this guy for? Because
Ooh,
these
baby,
cats out here.
that's a whole nother session for another day. But I have to jump off because I have a staff meeting at Ivy Black Girl and I have to drive. But I did want to say something really quick to what you said, Paul B, just around like what y'all try to do at First Sky. And I just wanted to uplift, like, I think that's important, especially in a world where like technology has made access to information very different. And there's not like trusted traditional news sources. Like you're not turning on the 5 o'clock news, 6 o'clock news to get the information and you feel like that's the only place. And so again, as we radically reimagine what organizations are a part of our movement, I think the space that you all have created is uber important. People have dialogue, they disagree, y'all are sharing information, right? Like it's become a mobilization tool. So I also just wanted to thank y'all for what y'all are doing because I think it's really important.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
And shout out to you, and I know what you're doing with IB Black Girl as well. Let them know that
Man.
First Sky Omaha said hi because we're a fan of your organization in a big way. Appreciate you.
For sure, for sure.
Well, thank y'all, and I'll see y'all in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'll see you tomorrow, Senator. But okay, can you say bye-bye, Asa?
See you later.
Bye.
Bye. Maybe want to get my hair back fresh. Peace. Uh-oh. Everybody else now.
Come on, man.
Now you back.
Dang, man. Dang. I ain't got to go.
Hey, man. Hey. Appreciate you hanging on, Senator Mckinney. Definitely. One of the things I wanted to kind of get to too was about the Black Caucus. We talk about the Black Democratic Caucus a lot. Tony Johnson asked who's running it, and we can extend that conversation on not just who's running it, but what the same question as before. What do we expect out of that organization to help what it is that we're doing now?
Mike Lee is running the
really?
Nebraska. Yeah. So reach out to Mike. Get Mike on here and tell him what he working on.
I didn't know Mike was doing that. That's what's up. Okay.
Yep.
Love that. All right. Yeah. Well, I'll definitely have Mike on it and ask him how he's faring over there. But as far as that particular organization is concerned, what's the ideal viewpoint? What does it look like if they're doing exactly what it is that you feel like they need to be doing? Or what would be the ideal situation with them?
I would say, from my perspective, it would just be educating community about each level of government. Number one, trying to advocate for things that we really need in our community. Being present a lot more and having a bigger face as far as like in the community, so people know who they are and what they're doing, but also like showing it through the work and not just saying we the Black Caucus, actually actionable things. So that's what I would expect to see, and just trying to get people who are more aligned with the goals for our community. That's the biggest thing, because for me it's not, yes, you want Black people in position, but you don't want the wrong Black people in position.
Right.
And sometimes we just got to be honest about that. Like, every Black person ain't meant to be elected official for a lot of reasons. I won't say, but no, because I saw something about like calling people out. I think that's cool. Like, I think it's cool to call people out. I just think sometimes people call people out with a lot of misinformation, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of things said on here and in other spaces that's far from the truth, and people take it as the gospel, and that's the frustrating thing. I was like, call people out all you want, like, more power to you. That's your right, but don't lead with bad information, because then that confuses people.
Right. You frustrated. Imagine, let me tell you about how we feel over here. because when that misinformation hits, and then we get it from all sides. Why you guys are supposed to be a news group? Why you got this misinformation out here? I remind people 100 times a week that this is the discussion group and it's open for the public to say what they want to say, and it's up to the public to come back and dispute those things if they are untrue, because this is a conversation. But boy, we get hit every week with that mess, man. We're over here spreading everything, all this misinformation. Nah, Friends of First Sky Omaha group is for you guys to have discussions and check each other It ain't our
Right.
job to be checking everybody in town. You know what I'm saying?
We are moderators. We are moderating a conversation to get to a goal, to get to an outcome. We are trying to make sure that everybody ain't chaotic and just like every other chat. Like we're trying to, direct this thing.
It
But
gets frustrating, but the main thing to me is that we're trying to, we would definitely want to, like, the calling out is part of this whole platform. Is part of the things that
man,
we're trying to do too. We just are trying to do it in a style that has some togetherness in there, that has this bringing this community together, because we can be in here disagreeing and calling each other out, not ugly though, like not in ways that makes everybody go away from each other all the time, because we'll never get any unity that way. So just
man,
want to go ahead.
Yeah, and it's good to have social discourse and have like heated conversations. I think that's what when we don't have those conversations, that's what hold us back, because we not breaking down the barriers of our level of understanding of each other. So we need to have discourse, but it can't be in a way that's not it's untrue. And we not, if we're gonna hold each other accountable, let's hold each other accountable to the facts, not just misperceptions and things like that. That's all I'm saying. Like I love it. I think we should have more of it. Like I always say, like, I think people should have debates for running for
oh
office,
yeah,
like real debates, like those type of things, so you know who people are.
Right. Yeah. With that. Majee Miller Jenkins in the chat: to clarify, calling out people that behave unethically is a responsibility of the public. Just because people are liked and valued doesn't mean there shouldn't be an absence of accountability.
oh yeah,
Agreed.
I agree 100%. I'm
oh
not
yeah.
saying you're wrong.
Yeah, I don't think anybody will go out to say, don't hold me accountable, don't call me out on my BS. But I do think that there's a level of calling out that even surpasses people thinking about what it is they can do. Like I do think that there's a level of focusing on so much on what people are doing or aren't doing that you're not focusing on how you can impact things and what you can do as an individual and how you can save yourself.
Yeah. Good opportunity there. We got about 9 minutes left in the show, and I know that we don't want to hold you too long, brother, but we've been talking about some subjects that we had lined up this time, but we also want to open the floor up to you to let us know about some of the subjects and bills and things that we need to be keeping our eye on, that's on your radar. Let us know what you seeing that we're not seeing.
So this week we'll be talking a lot about the budget. So
Yeah.
I'll be having, heated conversations with these people about why building a prison when we got a $380 million deficit makes no sense. So they'll be annoyed with me all week about that. And it's just other things. They're trying to take more money away from North Omaha that got set aside. So that we'll talk about the budget all week. As far as my bills, so my priority bill, LB 48, which is the Family Resource and Juvenile Assessment Pilot Program, it
Mhm.
got technically killed, but it's attached to another bill, and they're trying to take it out. But I put motions all over it, so they're gonna have a hard time doing that. And then I have another bill to hold OHA accountable for the bed bug situation, that is LB 287. And also it gives the city of Omaha power to hold OHA more accountable, because they argue they don't got the power. So then I found this statute that said additional powers for the city, and
Mm.
I gave them additional powers.
Man,
And
there you go.
but they didn't even want it, because they was like, well, people going, literally, this is what they said. It was like, well, people are gonna want us to do it. I was like, I want to. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah, that's the point. Yeah,
and it's wild.
no,
So then that one,
yo,
it's crazy, bro. So then it's another one dealing with the middle income workforce housing program, allowing rent to own as a usage under it to help people get into homes and try to build up the home ownership base in North Omaha and other communities. It also has a provision that says if somebody is going to use TIF because of lack of affordable housing, they have to build at least 30% of affordable housing. So, like, if somebody goes to use TIF for affordable housing, and they say we are blight in this area, because of a lack of affordable housing, then if they do that, they have to build at least 30% of affordable housing in that area. Because initially they didn't want to.
Oh man. Oh
I was like, dude, that don't even make sense. You saying they don't got affordable housing? We need to at least make sure some is there. So that's on. I think that's on final reading. Yeah, it's it's just a lot, bro.
I'm blowing circuit. I'm short circuiting over here. I'm sorry. Like the amount of common sense that has to be legislated. Like, so you're telling me currently, and we've seen it play out, but just to hear you say it is just like, so you have to make a law to force them to do the thing that they're saying, getting the money that they're saying that they're going to do. And the law is only forcing 30%. Like, you can still do 70% of what.
Yeah,
It's mind boggling. Like,
it's crazy.
and then the city saying, "Oh, we don't want this law because we're gonna have to do it."
Yeah, but the crazy thing is they don't have to adopt the ordinance, but they know people gonna come and say, y'all got these powers, use them because OHA is so horrible. They just don't want to hold OHA accountable. But what's crazy is, and this is what I told them, I was like, well, the city council and the mayor approves the director and the commissioners. Y'all are closer to the problem than me. I'm in Lincoln. Because they tried to say it was just a state issue. I was like, no, it's not. If y'all are approving the CEO and the commissioners, then y'all to me, y'all have way more accountability because I wouldn't approve these people.
Wow.
I mean, if this isn't a clear pass in the buck, like, then what are y'all doing? If what are you doing if you don't want to do the thing that you're supposed to be doing? Like, what's the point? Why are you holding up space?
That's wild.
To line corporate pockets, to build Tiff Alley? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Please make it make sense. And if you're not driven crazy by this craziness, then you're crazy.
Yeah, man, I definitely have seen you chime up in a different way this session than you have in the past. Like, it seems like every time I tune in or every time I see a clip of you going in, it's like it it reminds me that things are like getting worse, or like it just seems like, or maybe I'm just understanding more about the lack of like common sense and things that are going on there. It's got me interested in really kind of seeing like who's voting on what in a big way too. And I kind of wish that I wish that I'd like to put something together to make it an easy way for people to see. We try to keep track of bills, but who's voting on these bills and which way are they voting? Because I kind of now I need to see who's saying who's saying what. You know what I'm saying? Because that's wild. That's wild.
Yeah,
Man, I appreciate you, man. We'll definitely be looking out for those bills and the things that you're talking about, and again, leave people with the message of how to support you. Go down to the legislature, go down there, pull senators off the floor, talk to them, tell your personal testimony on the mic and in together with other people off the floor. Write letters, you know. It almost feels stunted a little bit. Like that's all we can do. Can we do? Is there anything else we can do? Can we go slap somebody?
I don't know about slapping somebody, but I will say it does seem like you read the plan that we were talking about in the first hour from the Black Advocates group. And does that help? You seem kind of high on having goals or having something from the community that might. Does that also help beyond just coming down and testifying on bills that you've already drafted?
yeah. I think so because I think we have to, like, people always talk about like what's our agenda or what do we want. We have to have a standard. Like the Black Panthers had the 10-point plan. We have to have something, and maybe that's the start of something though. Like they put that together, and maybe it can be. I don't like maybe if people feel like it can be improved, and get with those people and improve it to make it better. But I'm not gonna fault them for putting something together and saying this is our standard.
I appreciate that. And compared to, especially the stuff that you were saying earlier about that, we don't need everybody in town to even be down with it. It can be a smaller group. We don't need all 50,000 people to get down with a plan before we present a plan. it can be a smaller group of people. That helped me rethink a little bit about what's happening there too, because our efforts is really to try to unite all these groups and unite everybody, and really try, not and unite in a way that we still can disagree, and we can still check each other and everything else, but at least still get together in the way we just described, like Latino groups getting together about Plaza de la Raza and everything else they got going on. Like, they had some infighting over there too. They told us that everybody didn't agree, but they went ahead along with it once they decided that the majority of people was going to say, all right, let's go ahead and do this. So finding some unity there, but also not really trying to pull, if it's going to be too much of a time constraint on trying to grab all the groups and grab everybody together, just go ahead with a small group of like-minded people and go try to push and go work on that. So that's what I'm taking away from your wisdom on this conversation on that one, because I sure do get the feeling like this is fruitless. Like, we will never all get together here. We will never find the unity that we're looking for to make any kind of change happen. But we can find unity in a smaller group to make change happen. That's what I needed to hear.
Mm-hmm. And
I think it's possible, because I think people get like this misconception that during civil rights movements, people wasn't clashing, different groups wasn't clashing.
oh yeah,
You had Kwame Ture, who was Stokely Carmichael, disagreed with a lot of the stuff Martin Luther King was doing when he was with SNCC. So people disagree, like the Karinga and the Panthers disagreed,
Mhm.
but they were still working in their missions to try to improve our community. So I just, disagreements isn't, to me, it don't mean we just stop working. Like, people
Right.
gonna disagree.
Yeah. With that, people going to disagree, and I think that's why for us it's so important for us to be diligent in the way that we disagree. We have to be diligent in the way that we disagree, because you can disagree with somebody, but you don't gotta
Blow it up.
attack them and call them names and act a fool. Like, that's just what it is. And if there's any of that happening on our page, we do our best to shut that down, which might be why there's restrictions on our page, by the way.
Mhm.
Um, so
Yeah.
that's all we can really offer here, is a way that we can talk to each other in order for us to get together
Right.
when we disagree. And
Right.
it's our biggest mission here. So appreciate you, man. Appreciate you coming on. It's already a minute after 9:00. I know you got things to do today. Always a pleasure, and always appreciate you taking the time to come through, holler at us on some stuff, man. Hopefully we can get together and get together on something recreational. Maybe that Malcolm X 100 with Dad Prez. We probably see you down there for real. So
Yep.
yeah, we'll definitely see you in the streets, man. Appreciate you. And
All right,
you
y'all.
hit us up anytime, man.
Yep. Thank you. Everybody have a
Yeah.
good day.
You too, man. Peace and love, brother.
Peace. All
There
right.
you go. Yeah, wise words from the brother as always. And yeah, I definitely agree. We don't. I think it is a fruitless endeavor to try to get everybody on the same page. My goal is to get some cohesion in thought, as far as just for those who are about the mission, for those who are about the work, for those who are in the in pounding the pavement, if you will.
Mhm.
What is the goal? We don't even have to argue or agree on how to achieve it. But actually, I would prefer a diversity of ideas on how to achieve a thing.
That's what I was gonna say. I don't want everybody to agree with me on everything. I don't know
Right.
everything. I don't know everything.
Right. But but can we agree on what we're trying to do? Like, can we at least agree that everybody deserves housing? These things, and then we can play on how to figure it out.
Yeah. Anthony Rogers, right? Nobody's saying disagreeing is the same thing as attacking. I'm saying attacking does have that. And no, I don't think we have to eviscerate fragility. I think we have to show some grace, and we have to understand that everybody is not going to be able to take that. You ain't going to toughen people up by talking mess to them.
Mm-hmm.
If you think that's how to work, just see what the outcome of that is. Is there some togetherness in the end? Is like that's really the goal here, bro. Not to make people tougher. If that's your agenda, I don't know. But again, I think that if you're not paying attention to the way it is that we're trying to do something, I don't think it's coming from us just grasping at the wind. I think that we put some real time and some real years into trying to figure out how to do that. And I come from situations where I was able to gather people together on stuff, even if we didn't all disagree, because there is a way to do that. Old heads taught me that, and it's still a thing. And that's why a lot of people gravitate here. So if you got a problem with the way that we're doing it, you can always have your own page and do it there. That's all there is to that. You can always have your own page and do it there. We try to leave a wide girth for people whose personalities are different, want to say what they want to say. Every single time that I get offended about something, my next thought is, yeah, but are these people trying to do something? Or are they on the same page with us trying to uplift the Black community and do something here? Is there something I can learn from them? I got to do that all the time, or else I'll be shutting people down. Like, you don't even understand the shutdown game for when it comes to me. If you want to call that, if you want to call that weak, you can. I like being able to spend my energy on talking to folks that we can get together on something, and even if we're disagreeing on the details. So we're gonna keep on doing it like that. And again, man, you guys can complain all you want to, but you always got your own pages and platforms to do things on, and that's how we're gonna leave it.
Man, yeah. I mean, yeah, man. You know, everybody has their own style. I don't agree 100% of what the Democratic Party does, but I support Sister Precious trying to do what she's trying to do in that situation. And it's not the same as what I'm trying to do, but we all play a role. All play a role, and focus on what you can control, and that's it.
That's it. Brother came back and said, okay, then maybe we should be consistent with who is calling out, and how they do is all I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
Agreed,
Style.
bro. Agreed.
Style. That's it. Style.
Some guests on the show have said some very whack things about others when they have the floor. Okay, I mean, you one of the main ones that say some things against people. Where do people think Don Klein got that idea in the first place? He didn't get it from us, bro. He got it from his white supremacist upbringing.
Man,
speaking of which, before we get out of here, and no, we're not going 3 hours. I appreciate Black Dynamite and RG officially lobbying for 3 hours. But I will end it with this on that. I'm glad you said something about Don Klein, because this is something that we want to talk about too. And I actually want to ask Joaquin about this. Why it is? I mean, I know that it's the election right now, and this is the reason why their agenda came up the way it did, because we're talking about elected officials in District 2. But where's the big effort to do, like Anthony Rogers Wright had a great idea about, you can get him out the paint right now. We don't got to wait to fill that seat. Where's the organization to impeach homeboy? You know what I'm saying? Like, let's get to some of that action, because that's something that we really all agree on, from Senator Terrell Mckinney to Precious to Anthony Rogers Wright to everybody who's got way different ideas on a bunch of stuff. Come back and be like, yeah, but Don Klein though, you got to get out the paint. You gotta get out the paint. Who we putting into place? It can't be his next in line either. We got to make some big moves on that. Can we get together on that? You know what I'm saying? Like, where's the at? Let's take some. Let's get to some action points there, man, in a big way. I'll talk to Joaquin and Sherman and everybody else about it. I mean, everybody feels this way. Like I said, I think we're really caught up right now with the election that's happening, and what is it going to mean? What does it mean if Ben Gray wins District 2? What does it mean if Lavanya Goodwin wins D2? What is it going to mean for D2? And then what? Don Klein's still in there. Whoever gets elected for D2, like, what's the real point? So anyway, I'm just thinking about that. Anthony Rogers says Don Klein got the idea from Israel, is what I mean. Oh yeah, I hear you. At Paul and they police Palestinian children. For sure, and we've made that connection with Cop City and Atlanta and everything else that's happening when it comes to that as well. You're absolutely right. Appreciate that. Coming to Omaha too, in a big way. So anyway, that that's where I'm at. Like, we can spend time arguing, or we can spend time going, well, what do we know we need to get homeboy out the paint. Let's talk about that first, and get to the rest of it later.
I appreciate the approach, Paul, and
let's end it with that one. Appreciate that. Appreciate all you guys who came in today and had some discussion, talk about it. I really appreciate everybody who joins into this discussion and gives some respectful time to the senators when they come on as well. I hope you guys learn from the senators the way I have, in a big way, and shout out to them for doing the good work, and shout out to everybody else who's doing Boost to the Roots good work in a big way. Appreciate you guys for real. Even if we disagree on some things, or even if we're upset with each other on some stuff, I still appreciate it going down the way it does. So thank you. And let's move on from that. Buddy, you got some words for the people?
Man, if anything, if y'all don't get anything from the show, just know that man, love y'all with a pure love, man. Like, really, really want to see the best, for the community, for the people. We appreciate the support that we constantly receive from all of you ghost listeners, monitoring spirits, Chatchimers, the fam, the friends, everybody. We appreciate you. We love you. We thank you. And we're here to figure it out together, man. So catch the same time, same place, right here on First Guy Omaha, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. In the meantime, between time, Paul B.
Pop says,
Take it
great
away,
way to
man.
start off the week. Awesome show. See you all on Wednesday, God willing, and the creek don't rise. Appreciate you, Pops. Appreciate you very much. Shout out to the Omaha Tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Shout out to our elders allowing us to speak before you. And shout out to you, the Chatchimers, allowing us to speak with you on these subjects. We do pay attention to everything that you guys are bringing forth, and we appreciate all the comments. We also appreciate everything that you put in Friends of First Guy Omaha and the comments that happen there. We hope that we're never all right about something like that, about everything. So we definitely need to be continuing on to check each other, and let's do it with the respect that we have each other. Might know something that we don't know, so that we can kind of get on the same page. And even if we end up disagreeing, we can still respect the other person's viewpoint, that they have one, and that they're active about what it is they believe, which is sometimes where you got to leave it when you don't fundamentally agree on everything that there is to agree on. So, we'll just keep on doing it like that as best we can. And hopefully that'll be something that you guys gravitate towards and hopefully moves the needle, makes a difference. Are we making a difference? Like I said, about every 3 months, I'll be like, who am I doing this for? I feel like that sometimes. Yeah. And then I get word from a Chatchimer, I get word from somebody that disagrees with me, or I get word from a ghost listener that it is important, that they do feel like it's important, and the platform is here. And like, shout out to Ashlei Spivey, Senator Ashlei Spivey, for saying what she said about it. The space that we're creating, it's not a perfect space, but we're doing the best we can. So we appreciate that. Shout out to Senator Ashlei Spivey. Shout out to Senator Terrell Mckinney for coming through on the show today. We'll have a special guest coming up here on Wednesday as well. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, between time, take care of yourselves. The weather's supposed to be nice this week. Get outside, get some sun, and love one another. Live alive with one another. Appreciate y'all.
There you go.
Peace.
By the way, Vanglorious, this is protected by the Red